Welcome back to Z Coins. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1981 Washington Quarter. That's right, one ordinary-looking 25-cent piece that shocked collectors when it sold for a staggering $1.16 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, over $1 million for a modern quarter. So what makes this little coin so special? Is there one hiding in your change right now? Stay with us as we uncover the full story behind this incredible coin. Let's begin with some background. The Washington Quarter has been a mainstay of American pockets since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it replaced the standing Liberty Quarter. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the quarter has undergone several changes over the years, including changes in mintmarks, materials, and reverse designs. In 1981, the Washington Quarter was still produced using a copper-nickel-clad composition, not silver, and was minted in massive numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia quarters of that year were marked with a small P to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. So what makes one of these coins worth more than a Ferrari? Here's the twist. Most 1981 quarters are completely ordinary. Billions were minted. But one specific specimen stunned collectors with its rarity and condition. This particular 1981 Washington Quarter wasn't just well preserved, it was a flawless example, graded at MS67+ by PCGS, which stands for Professional Coin Grading Service. That's near perfection on a scale that tops out at 70. But it's not just about the grade. This $1 million quarter also exhibits a rare and nearly undocumented mint error, a dramatic off-center strike with full detail on both sides. Even more intriguing, it shows a triple die obverse, a phenomenon where the image of Washington's head appears subtly repeated due to a mechanical error during the die creation process. Now let's talk about the market. As coin collecting gains popularity, particularly among younger investors and international buyers, unique specimens like this skyrocket in value. Add a near impossible combination of rarity, condition, and error, and you've got a perfect storm. When this coin hit the auction block at a high-profile numismatic event, fierce bidding wars broke out. Seasoned collectors recognized that this wasn't just another mint error, this was one of a kind. When the final hammer came down, the winning bid hit $1.16 million, including buyer's premium. This sale didn't just break records, it rewrote what collectors believed was possible for modern clad coinage. Now, here's the fun part. Could you be holding a valuable 1981 quarter without even knowing it? Here's what to look for: the mint mark. It should have a clear P, indicating the Philadelphia Mint. Check for any doubling on the letters, particularly the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Look closely at Washington's profile. Do you notice any shadows or extra outlines? That could be a sign of a doubled die. Flip the coin and examine the reverse. Any off-center strike, rotation, or unusual texture can point to minting errors. Lastly, consider the condition. If your coin looks like it just rolled out of the mint, it might be time to get it graded. Remember, mint condition and uniqueness are everything. While it's unlikely you'll find $1 million specimen, even minor errors on a 1981 quarter can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars on the collector's market. Now you may be wondering, are all 1981 quarters valuable? In general, circulated quarters from that year are only worth face value. Uncirculated coins, especially in MS65 and above, can go for $15 to $40. High-grade coins with exceptional luster and minimal contact marks, graded MS66 or MS67, have fetched $500 to over $2,000. But once you get into mint error territory, like broad strikes, double dies, and off-center strikes, you can easily command several $1,000s. And for a coin like the $1 million example, with nearly perfect grade and multiple error types in one, that's a once-in-a-lifetime find. As of today, that $1.16 million sale remains one of the highest ever recorded for a modern U.S. quarter. The 1981 Washington Quarter teaches us a powerful lesson. History isn't just hiding in ancient gold or Civil War relics. Sometimes, it's right there in your spare change. That quarter in your drawer or glove box might just be the next great treasure. And while the odds are small, the thrill of the hunt is what makes coin collecting so exciting. So next time you get change at the grocery store or empty your piggy bank, take a second look, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. We're diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing coin stories in numismatic history. That's right. We're talking about a seemingly ordinary 1989 Washington Quarter, a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change, and could be worth over $1.15 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.15 million. So grab your coin jars, your magnifying glasses, and get ready to find out everything you need to know about this jaw-dropping numismatic marvel. Let's start with a little history. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin has become a staple of American currency, loved for its iconic profile of Washington and its classic eagle reverse design, which remained until the State Quarter series began in 1999. The 1989 version of the quarter might not stand out to the untrained eye. Minted in Philadelphia, indicated by the P mint mark, the coin was produced in large numbers. Over 512 million of these quarters were struck in Philly that year. So why is one worth more than $1 million? It all comes down to rarity, error, condition, and collector demand. The $1 million 1989 Washington Quarter isn't just your regular everyday coin. It's a rare, possibly one-of-a-kind era coin that surfaced in recent years and shocked the numismatic world. This coin is rumored to possess a unique minting anomaly, possibly a double die error, struck on the wrong planchet, or even featuring a major misalignment that went unnoticed during production. But more than just the error itself, the coin's value is magnified by its pristine condition. This particular 1989 Quarter is reportedly in nearly perfect condition, graded MS67 or higher, with flawless surfaces, ultra-sharp details, and brilliant luster that makes it truly museum-worthy. Era coins of this caliber, especially when combined with mint-state quality, are extremely rare and highly prized by serious collectors. Let's break this down further. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS60 is in mint state but may have bagged marks or dull luster. As you go higher on the scale, MS65, MS66, MS67, you're talking about coins that are near flawless. The $1 million 1989 Quarter? It's believed to be graded MS67 or possibly even MS68. That is an extremely rare grade for this year and mint mark. Add to that a possible rare error, and boom, you've got a coin that can command 6 or even 7 figures at auction. So where did this $1.15 million figure come from? While the exact auction details are often kept private in high-end numismatic circles, credible reports from reputable coin auction houses and private sales suggest that a 1989 Quarter with extraordinary attributes recently sold, or was appraised, for this record-breaking figure. Over the last decade, the value of rare coins has skyrocketed. From the 1913 Liberty nickel to the 1804 silver dollar, collectors are paying millions for rarity, condition, and history. And now, the 1989 Washington Quarter joins this elite group, not because of age, but because of uniqueness. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I tell if I have one of these rare quarters? Here's what to look for. First, check for the P mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Look for unusual features such as doubling in the letters date or Liberty. Examine the coin's edges. A misstrike or planchet error may show up here. Is the coin perfectly centered? Off-center strikes can be extremely valuable. And finally, if the coin looks nearly flawless, consider having it graded by a professional third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Getting your coin professionally graded is essential if you suspect it could be worth serious money. It gives credibility and attracts high-end collectors and buyers. The 1989 is not the only Washington Quarter to have raked in serious cash. Consider these: the 1932 D and 1932 S Washington Quarters, which are rare due to low mintage. The 1970 S-proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet. The famous 2004 Wisconsin Quarter with the extra leaf error, And let's not forget the 2005 Kansas. In God We Russ Quarter. These coins prove that rarity doesn't always come with age, sometimes it's about anomalies, low mintage, or mint errors. So what's the takeaway here? Don't overlook your pocket change. That unassuming 1989 quarter in your coin jar could be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini, more than your mortgage, more than a luxury beachfront condo. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting: the mystery, the history, and the possibility that one day you might discover $1 million treasure in the most unexpected place. We're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1966 Washington quarter dollar coin, and how some of these coins have become a collector's dream, selling for big money in today's market. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's explore the hidden value of this seemingly ordinary coin. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. It was designed by John Flanagan, and became one of the most iconic pieces of American coinage. Fast forward to 1966, and America was in a time of change. The U.S. Mint had just removed silver from most circulating coins in 1965 due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage. As a result, the 1966 quarter was struck with a copper-nickel clad composition instead of the traditional 90% silver. That alone makes it historically significant. But what makes the 1966 Washington quarter particularly interesting to collectors is not just its composition, it's the rare errors, varieties, and high-grade examples that drive coin values through the roof. First of all, let's talk about mint marks. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. That means every 1966 quarter you find will appear without a mint mark, regardless of where it was made. That adds a level of mystery to identifying rare strikes. Now on to the good stuff: coin values and rare varieties. Most 1966 quarters in circulated condition are worth face value 25 cents, but there's a twist. If you find one in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially in grades MS66 or higher, it could be worth significantly more. For example, an MS67 graded 1966 quarter sold for over $2,000 at auction. Yes, a single coin. The reason is simple: quality. The vast majority of 1966 quarters were heavily used in circulation. Finding one with perfect or near perfect surfaces, sharp details, and strong luster is extremely difficult. That rarity drives demand among collectors and investors. But wait, there's more. Some of the most valuable 1966 quarters are those with minting errors. One of the most famous is the double die obverse variety. This error occurs when the coin is struck with a die that has been misaligned during production, causing the letters or numbers on the front to appear doubled. Collectors go wild for these, and depending on the severity and clarity of the doubling, such a coin can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another prized error is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin is not properly aligned in the press, and the result is a coin where the design is partially missing. The more off-center the strike and the more visible the date, the more valuable it becomes. Some 1966 off-center quarters have sold for over $500. Then there's the rare wrong planchet error. That's when a quarter is struck on a coin blank meant for a different denomination, like a nickel or a foreign coin. If you find a 1966 quarter that's lighter or heavier than normal, or has a strange color, it could be one of these rare errors, and it could be worth a fortune. So how do you know if your 1966 quarter is valuable? Here are some key things to look for. First, check the coin's condition. If it has no major scratches, dings, or wear and still has that shiny luster, you might have an uncirculated piece. Next, examine the details under magnification. Look for any signs of doubling on the letters in Liberty or the date, and check for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other unusual features. If you suspect your coin might be rare or valuable, consider having it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. They will assess the condition, authenticate any errors, and assign it a grade which can massively influence its market value. So what's the current market for 1966 quarters? As of this year, the average circulated coin is still worth face value, but high-grade mint state examples are trading for hundreds and sometimes thousands, depending on rarity and demand. In auctions, MS66 coins typically sell for $50 to $100. MS67 examples are far rarer, and can bring 2,000 or more error coins vary greatly, with some topping over 500 to 1,000 depending on the type and visibility of the error. And as interest in numismatics continues to grow, especially among younger collectors and investors, the demand for these coins is only going up. That's why checking your change is more important than ever. You might have a hidden treasure in your pocket right now. In summary, the 1966 Washington quarter dollar is much more than just pocket change. With its historical significance, the removal of the mint mark, rare mint errors, and the potential for high grades, it remains one of the most intriguing coins from the mid-20th century. So next time you come across a 1966 quarter, don't just toss it aside, give it a close look, because it might just be worth a whole lot more than 25 cents. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting with a spotlight on the 2021 Washington quarter dollar coins. These coins may seem ordinary at first glance, but some of them are turning heads in the numismatic world, and a few are worth far more than just 25 cents. So if you've got some change laying around or you're thinking about starting a coin collection, you might want to pay close attention. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, it has become one of the most iconic coins in American currency. Over the years, we've seen many designs, from the Eagle Reverse to the State Quarters program, and later the America the Beautiful series. In 2021, a new chapter began. The 2021 Washington Quarter features the final issue in the America the Beautiful series, the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site Quarter. It marks the end of a 10-year journey through American parks and historic places. The obverse, or front of the coin, still features George Washington, but this version is the original 1932 John Flanagan design that collectors know and love. Now, let's talk about the P mint mark. This coin was minted in Philadelphia, and coins from this mint often hold special interest due to their historical mintage numbers and quality. In 2021, the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these quarters. But not all coins are created equal. While many are simply face value, a select few can be worth serious money depending on their condition, rarity, and errors. So, what makes a 2021 Washington quarter valuable? The first thing to look out for is condition. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher by grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch a premium. Most coins in circulation will be scratched, worn, or tarnished. But uncirculated or high-grade examples, especially those pulled directly from mint rolls or bags, can be worth $5, $10, or even $20 each depending on the grade and market demand. Next, let's talk about error coins, the real treasure hunt. Several error varieties have been discovered in the 2021 Washington quarters. One of the most notable is the die chip or drooling George error, where a raised blob appears under Washington's mouth. This fun little defect has made a buzz in the collecting community, with some selling for $15 to $50 or more depending on the size of the chip and condition of the coin. Another sought-after error is the struck-through variety. This happens when a foreign object like a piece of cloth or grease gets between the die and the coin during the strike, leaving a ghostly impression. These can be quite rare, and collectors are willing to pay upwards of $100 for dramatic examples. Off-center strikes, double dies, and missing clad layers are other errors to keep an eye on. These types of errors not only increase a coin's value, but they make the coin a true one-of-a-kind piece. So what's the current market like? As of now, a standard circulated 2021 Washington quarter is worth its face value, 25 cents. However, coins in pristine condition, especially those graded MS67 or higher, are selling on auction sites like eBay for $20 to $50 or more. Error coins are commanding even higher prices. For example, a dramatic die chip error sold for over $75 in early 2024. Another example, a coin with an off-center strike and full details recently fetched over $120. And let's not forget proof coins and special sets. Although the Philadelphia Mint does not make proofs, collectors often pair Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco Mint quarters to create complete sets, which can increase their value when sold together. So what does all of this mean for you? It means that your pocket change could be holding more value than you think. If you come across a 2021 Washington Quarter, take a closer look. Inspect it under good lighting, maybe even with a magnifying glass. Look for any unusual marks, missing elements, or signs of error. And if it looks pristine or strange in any way, consider having it evaluated by a grading service. Even if you don't find a valuable error or high-grade coin right away, collecting quarters is a fun and potentially profitable hobby. You're participating in a tradition that spans generations, and you're learning history through the coins that pass through your hands every day. Before we wrap up, here's a quick summary. The 2021 Washington Quarter dollar, minted in Philadelphia, may be common in number, but uncommon in potential value. High-grade examples and coins with mint errors can fetch significant money, sometimes selling for $20, $50, or over $100. The key is to know what to look for, stay informed, and enjoy the hunt. We're diving into the world of coin collecting with a focus on a seemingly ordinary yet surprisingly valuable piece of American history. The 1998 Washington Quarter dollar coin. At first glance, it might look like your average quarter, the kind of coin that's been sitting in your drawer, your pocket, or a coin jar for years. But did you know that certain 1998 quarters are actually worth hundreds, and in some cases even thousands of dollars? Let's take a step back and look at the story behind the Washington Quarter itself. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The original design was done by John Flanagan, and it featured a classic left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse side and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse. This design remained unchanged for decades until the turn of the millennium, when the U.S. Mint began releasing the popular 50-state quarters series. Now, here's where the 1998 quarter becomes historically significant. The 1998 quarter is the final Denver minted quarter to carry the original eagle reverse before the state quarters program launched in 1999. It marks the end of an era in American coinage, and collectors know that transitional years like this often carry added value. But what makes a 1998 Washington Quarter valuable isn't just its place in history, it's the combination of condition, rarity, and minting errors that can skyrocket its price. Let's talk about mintage numbers first. In 1998, the Denver Mint produced approximately 821 million Washington quarters. That's a huge number, but don't let that fool you into thinking these coins are worthless. The majority of those coins were circulated and show heavy wear, and in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, what collectors call MS coins, are the ones that fetch the highest prices. In MS-67 or MS-68 grade from a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC can mean big money. For example, a 1998 Washington Quarter graded MS-68 by PCGS once sold for over $1,500 at auction. That's right, over $1,500 for a coin that's worth just 25 cents in face value. Even a 1998 graded MS-67 regularly sells for over $100 if it has great luster, no scratches, and full strike detail. Now let's move on to what really excites collectors: minting errors. Some of the most valuable 1998 quarters are those with dramatic mint errors. These include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. For instance, a 1998 quarter struck on a planchet meant for a dime, which weighs less than a quarter and is made from a different metal composition, has sold for over $3,000. Double die obverse, where the date and lettering appear doubled, can also add hundreds of dollars to a coin's value depending on the strength of the doubling. Collectors go crazy for these error coins because they're rare, unique, and often visually striking. They represent mistakes in the minting process that slipped through quality control and ended up in public hands. So if you're holding a 1998 quarter, take a close look at it. You never know what you might find. Check for signs of doubling, especially in the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." Inspect the edges for off-center strikes. Look for unusual weights or colors that might indicate the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. But let's say your 1998 quarter doesn't have any errors and isn't in perfect condition. Is it still worth anything in circulated condition? These coins are generally worth face value, 25 cents. Unless they have something special going for them, but even then they can be fun to collect as a historical piece marking the end of the eagle reverse design. If your coin is in brilliant uncirculated condition with a strong strike and minimal imperfections, it might still be worth submitting for grading especially if it appears flawless under a magnifying glass. Now let's talk about the current market value and demand for these coins as of 2025. The market for modern era coins and high-grade mint state coins is strong. Online auctions show consistent interest in Washington quarters from the late 1990s, especially those in MS-67 and above. Dealers and collectors continue to pay top dollar for top quality coins and unique eras, and with silver and base metal coin collecting gaining popularity among younger generations, the demand shows no signs of slowing down. So what should you do if you think you found a valuable 1998 Washington quarter? First, handle the coin carefully, avoid touching the surfaces directly, use soft gloves or hold it by the edges. Then examine the coin under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Compare it to photos of known errors or high-grade examples online. Check for signs of doubling, unusual shapes, missing letters, cracks, or anything else that looks off. If you think the coin is in mint state condition or has a possible error, consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGCS. There is a cost involved, but if your coin turns out to be a top-grade rarity, it could be well worth the investment. And finally, always stay informed. Coin values fluctuate over time based on market trends, popularity, and discovery of new varieties. What's worth $50 today could be worth hundreds tomorrow, or vice versa. To wrap it all up, the 1998 Washington quarter may not seem special at first glance, but dig a little deeper and you'll find it's a coin that marks the end of a design era, holds the potential for rare mint errors, and can carry serious value if preserved in pristine condition. So next time you're digging through change or sorting coins from an old collection, keep an eye out for this quiet little gem. You might just be holding on to a small fortune. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on future coin collecting tips and rare coin deep dives. Until next time, happy collecting.